Welcome to the No New Friends podcast, the podcast for adults who like to laugh at adulting. In this episode, we have the long-awaited interview with Carlos Navarro from Marvel's Hawkeye on Disney+. He was a member of the Tracksuit Mafia. This is a fantastic interview. He goes in depth about some of the struggles that he experienced in life and how he's become successful today. Now, I will warn you, there are some four-letter words used in this episode. Not a lot, but there's enough. I did not mark it explicit, but just be cautious of that. Don't forget to please nominate us on Orlando Weekly's Best of Orlando competition under the category Local Notables Best Local Podcast. And now it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Hawkeye was by far the best Disney Plus series. Now, I loved WandaVision.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah,
Thank
Hawkeye
you.
was so good. It fit perfectly with the story. And then, an added bonus, knowing someone, and I'd pull my kids in. I'm like, I know that guy.
You believed in me. You know what? I don't forget. You and Mary both believed in me. See, this is how it works, folks. I do get asked to do quite a number of podcasts. I gotta be honest, a lot of them.
Sure.
And I can't do them all. I literally am here finishing dinner with my family, and that's why my apologies for rescheduling stuff. But when people are good to you, you both were so kind to me and have supported me throughout the years. And I never forget that. I never, ever forget that.
And now it's time for the No New Friends podcast with Scott, Mary, and Chris.
Come on, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
That's right. You are listening to the No New Friends podcast, voted number one by our friends and family. We are the podcast for adults who like to laugh at adulting. If you'd like to connect with us on the Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube, the Twitter, just visit our website, nonewfriendspodcast.com. From there, you can check out our sweet merchandise or join our Clubhouse. That's our Patreon, and watch all of these live recordings. You don't want to miss them. Also, it is the season. Please nominate us for Orlando Weekly's Best of Orlando competition under the category Local Notables Best Local Podcast. We were a finalist last year. We'd love to be there again. My name is Scott. I'm the host. With me, as always, my co-host. Not only is she the queen of the sunrail, she's the queen of quarantine, Mary.
Hey!
And our other co-host, he is a LinkedIn expert. Give him a call if you need some advice. Also, he's our scumbag reselling hoarder, Chris.
Do not call me, but go pay your bills, Randy. Now, I was going to cut a credit card, but my wife was very angry.
That quote
Would she
is
be
obvious.
angry though, Chris? Because I feel like the opposite.
Yeah, that may
would
save
probably
you a
solve
ton of
lot
money.
I
problems.
feel like that's...
Yeah.
That quote is
Financial
obviously
advice.
from the movie Identity Theft, which brings us to our guest tonight. If you live in Orlando, you've heard him on the Monsters in the Morning on Real Radio 104.1. You've also seen him in the Tracksuit Mafia on Hawkeye on Disney+. And then also a bunch of other things. The Walking Dead. He was in the Kingdom's Army. Carlos Navarro. How you doing, man?
I'm doing wonderful. Good to see all of you in your different places with your different backgrounds and learning all about you in this short amount of time, this little bit of time.
Short little snippet. And as I've done that intro about 100 times, and I still can't get it right.
He's so nervous, Carlos. He's fangirling, even though he totally knows you. Like he's like,
I know,
what do I
we've
do?
broken bread. We've talked.
I know.
We shared
Look.
time, and here we are on the podcast and just sharing this, digital love here. This, and so it's all good. You know what? You got it the third time, so good for you.
Yeah, third time's
He
the
did
charm.
The Tracksuit Mafia is fictional, Scott.
Yeah, right.
Yes, I'm not gonna come at you, bro. Okay, just get it right the first time, bro. Okay,
Got a little goosebumps.
get it right, okay, bro.
There were some goosebumps
I'm gonna also
there.
need some lessons. Like when it's bedtime, I need to learn how to do that towards my children. So if you could, if we could stay on after, if you could just give me a couple of
It starts with shaving your head. Starts with that,
Okay.
and then
okay.
after that, gold jewelry.
I got
helps.
that. Yeah,
That's
I'm
what I
Italian.
need. I
got
need the
it. No
gold
problem.
jewelry.
You got a crazy eye? Can you do one of these? I think. Yeah, there you go. You got it. You're good. You're
Look, I'm not
75%
crazy
of the
already.
way
I
there.
just-
You're good.
Yeah, I just gotta shave the head.
When I make that
off.
face, I end up on some registry,
qualified.
and I can't
I get
go
it.
near schools. So
Oh my, that is okay. There's a line that we tiptoe, like we just did it, and then you jumped over.
You gotta watch out for us
leapfrogged
bald
right
guys, Scott. You can't be saying like bald guys. We gotta look out for each other. So those kind of jokes, they get us in trouble. So
I know.
You gotta be careful.
You just coupled yourself with him. Great,
right?
Wonderful.
So
Chris is just sitting back.
I know. Here we're off the rails already.
Here we go. Already.
So there's so much to get to with Carlos, so we're just going to get right into it. So your most recent project, I saw you've got a couple of upcoming projects, but Marvel's Hawkeye. When I saw you in the trailer, because you hadn't really announced it on the radio, I about right. Oh, of course. But I about lost my mind. Now, were you a Marvel fan before getting that call, or are you just kind of new into the MCU?
So by that time, I had gotten into it. Where I'm at now with it, like I'm a total geek junkie through and through and through. At that point, I was like, Endgame had sold me, but I didn't, I still had to go, and I still do, go to YouTube to get all the, behind the scenes of it, the Easter eggs. So, but at that time, I was auditioning for that and, what's the other show? Ozark. And so I was kind of just like I was thinking more Ozark, to be honest. I wasn't thinking about the MCU. And then I booked them, Marvel, and I was like, oh, damn. And so that was before, that was like, when was that? Mid-2020, I think? Yeah, mid-2020. So the TV shows weren't out yet.
Right.
And there was that delay, Black Widow hadn't come out yet. And so we didn't know. It was like a super secret project. And you got to fly out to New York and all this stuff. So I was like, oh, I know this is big. And very excited about it. But I had already kind of jumped into that universe big. And then once I booked it, I went extra deep. And thankfully, my daughter, who's 11 now, at the time 9 or 10, kind of right around there, we had gotten into Stranger Things. So she loved Stranger Things. Because I was like, I'd like Stranger Things, but I only went to season 2, probably a lot of us did or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I think you'll like it. She's like, okay, cool. And then she got into it, Stranger Things, and she loved it. And then I was filming in Atlanta, and she was like, do you think I'll get in? Do you think I like Marvel? I'm like, yeah, I do. I think you'll like it. So we started with the timeline, literally first movie, and went all the way through. And then just as we were finishing Endgame, Hawkeye came out. It was beautiful. It was awesome.
I have a quick question for you, Carlos.
Sure.
Obviously, being on set with some of these stars, being a part of the MCU is really cool. But is there anything cooler than right behind you, being on a poster with the Marvel Studios logo, with the title of the TV series?
Chris, let me tell you, man, it was mind blowing. It was genuinely mind-blowing. To this day, that's why I have it here, because I'm kind of well, at least I did that. You know what I'm saying? I got my kids on this side, cool. And I got this there. And no, I'll tell you what happened was, so the premiere was in November of last year. Mm-hmm. And we knew that we had done well, or as far as me, when I mean me, I'm literally talking about the Tracksuit Mafia, me and Piotr and Alex. That's how close we are. The bros, you know what I'm saying, bro? And we knew we had done well because everybody was very kind. Kevin Feige was kind to us. All the big dogs were super kind to us.
Wow.
But we didn't know the magnitude of of that. So then we're getting our stuff together and it's late one night. And I'm literally going to take a flight the next day with my family to LA for this gigantic Hollywood premiere. And so we kind of made a vacation of it. But I'm fixing some Christmas lights outside of my house as before I'm leaving. And I get this text from, who was it? Piotr. And he's like, Carlos. And he's so elegant the way he's like, Carlos, have you seen the poster? My God. And I'm like, they have publicists. I don't have a publicist and stuff like that. They're superstars, both of those guys. And I'm like literally fixing Christmas lights in my front house. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what are you talking about, poster? He's like, it's magnificent. It's us. It's on the... And I'm like, okay, dude, whatever. We're not on a Marvel boat. Don't lose your mind. Fast forward to we're on the flight. And he told me he didn't take a picture of it or anything like that. But anyway, so we get on the flight and we land in Hollywood or whatever. And I get a text from Ivan, and he's like, dude, are you sitting down? And I was like, I'm in my airline seat, so yes, I am. And he took a picture of it, he sent it to me, and I was like, Oh my God. It was, and I showed Megan and my wife. I was like, and she's like, oh my God. And that's when we realized, oh, damn, we're going to be like a really fun, kind of big part of this whole universe that people, if you're an MCU fan, you'd be like,
Yeah.
Tracksuit Mafia. You'd be like, oh yeah. You know, so yeah, it was mind blowing, Chris. It's to this day, it's still one of like, how can, it's hard to beat,
I look forward to those posters because every week Marvel puts out there, when they do the series, they put out the main character of that episode. So I look forward to those posters. I can't even imagine what it would have been like for you to see yourself.
Dude, it was crazy. Well, I mean, it was crazy because like it caught on, like the whole, like I think going from the world of like we all know, like these massive villains, Thanos and different universes, and then it was like, right, let's get back down to basics. These kind of goons who are silly and fun and stupid, and I think it connected with people because they put us on 2 more posters after that. 2 more with Kingpin and like Hawkeye. It was just like after a certain point, I was like, oh, another poster. Yeah, thanks a lot. Like it was crazy, and that people genuinely enjoyed it. It wasn't like controversial. Like Falcon and Winter Soldier had some good. You got to kind of get it. WandaVision was kind of out there. Like Hawkeye was pretty straightforward, man, and I think a lot of people appreciated that.
Hawkeye was by far the best Disney Plus series. Now, I loved WandaVision.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, Hawkeye was so good. It fit perfectly with the story. And then, an added bonus, knowing someone, and I'd pull my kids in. I'm like, I know that guy.
You believed in me. You know what? I don't forget. You and Mary both believed in me. See, this is how it works, folks. I do get asked to do quite a number of podcasts. I got to be honest. A lot of them.
Sure.
And I can't do them all. I literally am here finishing dinner with my family, and that's why my apologies for rescheduling stuff. But when people are good to you, you both were so kind to me and have supported me throughout the years. And I never forget that. I never, ever forget that. I've been on sets where, at the very beginning, where I meet like a gaffer, I meet a camera guy, and then I go to a big Marvel, and they're the lead camera guy. They're the cinematographer. And I don't do it just for like that. It's just easier to be kind to people, number one, obviously, and number two, like to pay back the people that were like, you guys were very supportive of me. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, you know what I'll never forget? When you totally crushed me when we played Omniverse. Like, it wasn't even a competition. I forgot that I could move for like a few seconds. But
I'm super competitive though, Mary. I'm super
but you
competitive.
also had an unfair advantage, right? Because you were acting like face to face with zombies on a daily basis. Okay, it's not the same for me. I was frozen with terror, and I got these little short corgi legs that don't even go anywhere.
I know.
So rematch, it's fine. I'm not bitter at all. Okay.
I'm down. I'm down for that. That was a lot of fun. That was a fun day.
Yeah, and that brings us to the next franchise. I mean, you've worked in our time 2 extremely iconic franchises. You're in the MCU, and then The Walking Dead. And before we get to The Walking Dead, I want to rewind for a minute because I've obviously been following you since. You joined the Monsters, 99, like straight out of high school, something like that.
Yeah,
under the persona Blackbean. And Chris, you don't know this. I've told Mary, but they when American Idol season 1 came out, they're like, we're going to do this contest where we're going to have listeners come in and do their talent. And then if they get over a certain score, we're going to give them tickets to our next concert in West Palm Beach. It was called Beer Babes and BS. And and I went to all the Monsters concerts because they were really epic.
It's so weird to think that people would go to a radio show concert, but this was so before. Like if social media was around, then first off, a lot of people arrested, right, and a lot of pictures. I'd be like, man, we're deleting that shit. But we were well ahead. Scott would be one to say, but I think we were ahead of our time with like viral stuff.
Oh, for sure.
There was no platform for it. It was the early 2000s, really.
For sure. Well, I don't want to talk a whole bunch about Russ, but he's a genius. Everything he touches turns to gold. He knows, he's so smart.
P.T. Barnum, man. P.T. Barnum.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I always call him.
Exactly. And I played these guys Face Pirate the other day just to kind of give them.
Okay, look, I had no idea what that was. And so, we watched it, and it just happens to be alongside when I've started watching the new John Wayne Gacy documentary series. So in my mind, Face Pirate equals you end up in a crawl space, just so everybody knows, like, dudes, if you even think about it, you'll end up in a crawl space. So if you want to look up that song,
it's an old song. You don't have
old
to.
Song.
It's an old one.
It's a band song.
Yeah,
so crazy back then.
I go into the Real Radio studio and I'm super nervous, and it was like a Tuesday, and I've got my son with me. So Darren, who's now 21, I bring him in here. He's 2 years old. And the big thing with the Monsters, they had their dog tag. So if you're, a fan of the show, you had your monster dog tag. I was number 865, something like that.
Damn, hardcore.
So
I know he's actually has a tattoo of it on his butt.
Stop.
I don't want to tell you.
No, I don't. There are some people who have Monsters tattoos, but I never got one. So I didn't, I can sing, but I didn't want to sing and just get ragged on. So I come in, and Carlos, when he was first with the Monsters, his persona, his on-air name was Blackbean, and Blackbean would do the prize hoopty every single day, to talk about what prizes were in the bin. And
yes.
It was this very Spanish over the top accent.
Yes, it was like this. I was like, hey, wow, look at this. We got a pair of tickets to Garth Brooks. You should come down here, man. It's gonna be, oh my God, wait a second. Wow, look at this. We have $1,000 for the Diamond Entertainment. It was a takeoff of like Sábado Gigante, something like that. I haven't done that in years. You're the first one to make me do that, Scott. I haven't done it in years, man.
I appreciate that.
Scott.
I got some
that was
goosebumps.
Pretty good. That was good.
So I come in and I do a Blackbean impression. I did the whole prize hoopty. Another great prize. Wow, look at this. And it was terrible. It was awful.
Oh,
but,
it was?
Yeah, but you gave me a 10. Daniel gave me a 10. Dirty Jim gave me a 1, and it was because the prize that I was giving away was a 1-year membership to the Hair Club for Men. Just ask Dirty Jim. Yeah, it was funny. And
before you were bald, right?
Before I was bald, yeah.
See how it all pays back? All those bald jokes I told Jimmy came back and ate my hair.
And then you said if I could do an impression of Daniel, you'd give me a 10. So I just got down on my knees. I was really short because I was on the spot. Anyway,
it's tough. It's tough to do a Daniel impression.
Right.
A tough voice.
So anyway, so you're with the Monsters and you leave the Monsters, and
I got fired from the Monsters. Very different than leaving the Monsters. I got fired. Let's be clear here. And I'm not saying you're changing history, but I'm not shy about it. They fired me because in that day and age, trying to do another gig was so shit on. It was like, you're trying to be an actor? You'll never be an actor. Straight up words. This radio show is the biggest thing you will ever do, from members of the show to my face. To my face. And then they got me fired from it because I was interested in acting. Now that's the real deal.
I never knew that.
Dog.
I never knew that.
Now what they said was, I left to go do acting. Isn't that nasty? Nasty?
It's a little nasty.
Like, so when you see that shit in real life, when you see like these press releases, like I think about that shit, like when people release a statement, it looks all professional. It looks like, well, that makes sense. Tom Brady left and then he decided to come back, and definitely no issues with my, like, it's so dirty. Look, it's all water under the bridge for sure. I was an asshole too. I needed to have humble pie. I needed humility. I needed to get embarrassed. I needed to be humiliated. I needed to do all those things. I don't know what my trajectory would be without that real life check at that moment. So that's not even a regret. Like, I have regrets. I'm not one of those people like, man, I regret. I regret something like, I could have kept that car longer. Yeah, could have kept that. But stuff like that, it's like, kind of made me who I am. And then it actually made me a better broadcaster on the other end when they hired me back. And my stipulation was, don't mess with my acting. They said, oh, no problem at all. No problem at all. It's just funny how life is.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Yeah. So, as a fan of yours, I kind of, when you were asked to leave or fired, And thank
Get
you
it
for
right
sharing
or
that.
pay the price.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't. I mean, I knew that you were let go, but I didn't know the reasons.
Scott, I don't go around like, you obviously have supported for so long, and man, that just means it honestly means the world, man. Like 20 years, like it's crazy. So like you're honest
It's a
about
lifetime
it.
for you, Chris.
Yeah. Chris is what, 18?
Yeah.
Next week, actually.
Almost.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Beer's cool. So I'll give you, I don't hide the answer, but a lot of times, I might just be like on the air, like I don't need to bring that up all the time. I have brought it up. Russ has also been a gentleman and apologized about it. Like a straight up gentleman. Actually, before they hired me back, I was shooting a film with Jason Statham, Homefront in New Orleans. And I was feeling myself after being fired, and I posted something on Facebook. It wasn't directly towards anybody, to be honest, but I just kind of put something out there like, hey, my second film this year, my third commercial, driving to New Orleans, things good. And I get to my hotel room, I lay down, I wake up, and a text from Russ, and I really hadn't talked to him in probably a year or so. We'd been cool, whatever. He's like, hey, man, I think that was about me. And I think, because I said also what I just told you guys. I said, from people who said that this radio show be the biggest, I'll never make any act. I remember like, you'll never even book a commercial, like they said. And he's like, man, I think that was me, and I apologize. You proved me wrong, man. And I'm happy for you, and keep going. And so like, gentleman to him too. Like, like he wasn't like bitter about it. He hired me back on the show. Like,
right.
You've worked at different places. Like if you have a boss or somebody that held the position of hiring somebody, and then you kind of fell off on bad terms. And then you hire him back, and I've been very happy ever since. Like him and I get along. It's like an uncle, man. It's like a dude that I've known for 20 years. I love the dude. I know him. He knows me. And they've been very cool with everything. Like, look, I'm even broadcasting from my home studio most of the time. Then I come in when I want to. So I'm in a very good position.
That's
awesome.
How do you? Because Chris lives in New Jersey, and we actually just met Chris in real life this past weekend. And so we put together. We're like, well, let's live record a 15-minute episode or a 15-minute segment, and it was super weird because all we know is virtual. How does which do you prefer? Do you prefer in studio, virtual?
I think in studio for sure will give you like the ultimate ability to have teamwork, kind of like play off of each other. I've worked with Russ for decades, literally decades. So like we could be anywhere. I could be on a phone, he could be on the mic, and we're going to be fine. As well as the other guys. We've worked. We have a solid foundation of working together, so it makes it easier like this. But when you don't have a solid foundation, it makes it more difficult.
Sure.
Because of not getting to know each other and the literal half a second delay that this, without a doubt, you can't take out. We have a totally separate satellite in plug. ISDN line so our delay is very little, and at this point I just kind of broadcast out of the studio and everybody else is there, and I'm able to play off of that. I've kind of over the years of being away on Walking Dead and learning to do this is also an acquired talent to broadcast like this,
right?
As opposed to sitting in one room. So there'll be their difficulties, but I don't think, to be honest, people really, I don't think because of COVID and everything, it's not as big of a deal to have with this setup, right? Like people are very used to it, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I had to wear real pants when we were all together. I don't have to do that now, right? Like, ugh, what the heck, man. Wild.
So Carlos, during the time when you were not with the Monsters and then with them again, what was that time period like? And kind of take me through. You're asked to leave the Monsters, which was a great gig. And that's all you knew from high school on. And then was there odd jobs? I mean, I know you got into photography, and then take me through that first break where you got an acting gig.
Yeah, it was very difficult. It was extremely difficult. I was on probation. I was about to be married. We had just bought a house at the peak of the bubble. And then the recession hit. Like it was 2007. And for those younger viewers, listeners, that was a pretty insane year in the world. And so we kind of lost everything. It was about as bottom as you can get. Now, fortunately, my wife and I were very solid. To this day, we are. We're best friends. We're just a great team. And so acting had already begun. It was basically the beginning of acting, because the irony is, it's crazy, but the truth. The same day I got fired, I had an audition for Prison Break and EA Sports on the same day. So I literally got fired, went to those two auditions, and booked both those auditions. Thank God. So I left almost immediately iHeart, and EA Sports offered me a job as a producer for their new crazy social media thing that's coming out called Game Show, the first live game show. So I was like, okay. So I jumped into this position, which was brand new. Like, this social media had just started. And I'd already acted. So I was like, hey, I'm an actor though. And they're like, that's cool. And then I booked Prison Break. And so it's like, this is all happening. Then I'm getting married. It was a very insane, weird, went bankrupt. Like, it was a weird, crazy, hard-ass time. But it felt part of the process. I know that sounds weird, and maybe that's me just looking back on it or whatever, but like things have been pretty smooth for me, other than my own bullshit of getting arrested for being a wild drunk or picking my own problems. So like, up until that point, man, I was having this amazing life of being a celebrity pre-social media in Orlando.
Right.
Like, and then I fucked it up because I was wild.
Right.
And I drank a lot. And then, so yeah, it's a gut check. I had good people that believed in me. Had a lot of people that still believed in me. I believed in myself. I had to sell slicers. I had to be a waiter. I had to sell timeshares, but I never gave up acting. And that's the difference. The difference is when life hits you, how much do you really love your passion? For me, it was a non-negotiable. I'm always going to be an actor and everything associated with that. So I'll figure out ways, and that's what would happen. I would book a big gig, and then that would be a nice paying gig, and I could move forward with that. But it was all faith. It was and really a big belief in myself, and catching a break here and there until finally all the breaks kind of caught up and all hit at the right time. So it makes any difficulty now, and there's still difficulties now. I would love to say, like, I'm rich as hell and I have no problem, but that ain't the case. And just developing this the more controllable world that I can, because a lot of the stuff I do I can't control. So.
Right. Yeah, it was so great the first time I heard you back with the Monsters, because I had kind of gone away listening to other stuff for no particular reason, and then came back and I was like, oh my gosh, Carlos! I wonder if that's Blackbean. I'm listening. I'm like, oh my gosh, they brought Carlos back. It was so great, and it as much as I loved the character Blackbean, I loved the Mr. Positivity to the top because it's a different side of you, and it's a genuine side, and it's as we get older, now you're a parent, you're a husband, all that crap that you did in the past, you don't drink anymore. It's just, it's inspiring. Now, I don't know that I could cut out the drinking, but it's just,
not everybody has to. Hey, not everybody has to. I'd still drink if I could. I'll tell you that.
So you're back. Tell me about the phone call when you get called to be on The Walking Dead, because you had a pretty large part on The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Real quick to end the radio kind of antidote to it all, like, I always felt like that first half of the radio career, like, I did it indiscriminately. I had fun. I created some fun stuff, but I did it without thinking. I wasn't like, I didn't have and I was in my 20s, man. Like, you're not going to have everything laid out. But I never planned on being back in the radio. That's why I can never count anything out, right? Because, like, it was always in the back of my mind. And then I said, but if I do, I'm going to come back with a purpose. I'm going to do what I do, but I'm going to come back with a message. And John Tesh, I don't know if you guys ever heard of John Tesh. He does his radio show sometimes. And he would do these little, like, in between the breaks, he'd have, like, these little knowledge things. And I always thought it was, because I'd be driving home from, like, a late night serving gig, and John Tesh would be on. And I was like, you know what? I like that he kind of gives a little, he's not just talking some bullshit. He's actually giving me some knowledge, And so I was like, oh, well, I'm already doing that on social media. Yeah, if I ever came back, I would do To the Top or something like that. But and that's what ended up happening. And now that itself, what I call the personal development side is a huge part of what I do. I feel like all that stuff that I talked about allows me to talk to people who are going through it, who are suffering, who are dreaming of bigger aspirations, who have passions like broadcasting, but still got to have that job to pay the bills. Like, I think that is like me to a T, and I hope I can give a lot of inspiration, because I genuinely feel everybody should seek out and really fulfill their passion. That doesn't mean if you're going to be a podcaster that you have to have the Joe Rogan podcast. It can mean, hey, look at us. We got a podcast coming out every week. We're doing it. All these other assholes are talking about it, but we're sitting here and we're doing it. And it fulfills you, and it actually makes you better at your other job. You know, because you're like, oh, I'm not fretting, oh, only if. It's like, yeah, I'm actually doing it, you know? So I think that's part of what I do. And then to get to your question, the phone call was one of the greatest moments ever. One of the greatest. During that time period, I had 5 years of auditioning to be on The Walking Dead.
Oh, wow.
5 years, okay? And I know some people will be like, why the hell did you keep trying that long? You know? But the acting game works like this. It's like you get an audition. Your agent says, hey, they want to see you. You audition. That's how it goes, right? And so, and I can remember this. It was like a year after being fired from the radio station. I got my first Walking Dead audition. Oh. And I was like, baby, if we book this, our life changes. We had a little baby, you know, and we just moved into this house. We had like no money, but I was like, but I feel good about this. I feel good about this role, you know, and this was, you know, fast forward 5 years later, my daughter's now 5 years old, okay? At this point, they'd see me for so many different characters. And then I watched the character on the show, because I'll tell you, it was my favorite show. Imagine like your favorite show, and you get, like, Scott, you lived it. Your favorite radio show was The Monsters. You got to go in and you did the Black Bean, right? Right. So imagine your favorite show, and like they keep come over. Just about to walk in. Get the fuck out of here. We don't want your ass. That was it for 5 years, right? But I never gave up, because I was like, fuck it. What do I got to lose, you know? And so I'd watch the show, and I'd be like, oh, good, he don't look anything like me. Or like, you know, like, oh, he played they went I never watched one time. And if you watch the show, maybe you'd remember it was like a guy who was working for Negan, and he was kind of kidnapped Daryl, and he tortured him for a while. Anyway, He was really good. And I was like, okay, maybe he just beat me. You know, like, I was just like, but the rest of the time it'd be like, you know, an Indian dude, a black dude, a woman, all these. I'm like, okay, they went a different route, whatever. Right. So 5 years down the road, at this point, I would get the audition and I would do it. But it wasn't like I'd run to Megan and be like, if we get this audition, she was like, shut up with The Walking Dead already. So then you're at this point, you know. Even my daughter's like, shut up, Dad, you're never going to. No, she didn't say that. But so I take a nap because I did the radio show. Of course, I got a nap. I wake up early. And I get a text out of the blue from my agent. My agent's like, Carlos, check your email. And I'm like, all right. It says, Scott Gimel, the producer of The Walking Dead, would like to see you. Now, that's not what normally happens with auditions. Okay? Normally, an audition you get from your agent. It's from casting. They have a breakdown. There's all this. God, this was a straight email from The Walking Dead executive. And I was like, what? I was like, what the F is this? And I called up my agent. I was like, have you ever seen this before? And she's like, no. And she'd booked people before on their show. I was like, okay. And she's like, they asked me, are you good with motorcycles? I was like, yeah, I'm really good with motorcycles. She's like, are you really? I was like, no, I've never ridden one, but I will take class. So by the time I show up, I will be a Harley Davidson. And she's like, all right. She sent me 2 auditions. She's like, all right, they're waiting for these. I go and I like, imagine doing the auditions. You're like, oh shit, this is the pressure of acting. It's not the acting part. The acting part's fun. Entertainment is like this. You have few opportunities to really raise your game and be noticed at the right time, at the right place. Sometimes you don't know it. Every now and then you know it. This was one of those situations where I knew, hey, don't fuck it up. So I did my thing. I get nothing back. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? This is unbelievable.
What a tease.
And another day passes and Maya's like, hey, do you know how to ride horses? I'm like, yes.
What?
I was like, I know I'm going to quit. And she's like, no, for real, do you? I was like, no, I never ridden a horse. I was like, word. Hang up, go home, get a call later. Carlos, you need to be in Georgia. And by tomorrow, by 3, you booked a role. It's recurring. You're going to be gone for 3 months. I can't tell you anything other than the name of your role rhymes with your name. Get on the road. Click. Like that. And I was like, what? They sent over the script. My name was Alvaro because they named it after Navarro. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And then they sent the script and I'm reading the script. I'm like, I don't die. I'm alive. I'm like, and I had read the comic because this is where the whole shit pays off, right? Like, I had actively been writing in a notebook and reading comics and going, I will be on The Walking Dead. I am on The Walking Dead. I will meet Andrew Lincoln. And I would read and I would say, oh, yeah, that's my part. And it's crazy. You look at it, I look like a fucking madman. And then here I am meeting Andrew Lincoln, playing the part of the kingdom. It's like if everybody really believed in themselves and really believed in the powers of affirmation and manifestation and visualization, the world would look like an entirely different place. But too many people choose to really have those limiting beliefs. And thankfully, my crazy ass had lost it all, so I had nothing to lose. So I was just like, fuck it. I just say I'll be on The Walking Dead.
And you had such a cool role too, because
yeah,
when the king's army got ambushed, everybody was dead, and I had pretty much written you off. I was like, Carlos is dead. This is a sad day. And then King Ezekiel's about to get it, and here comes Carlos to the rescue, saving Ezekiel's life, and then gets it in the back.
It's crazy, dude. Thank you. I was, it's always fun to be able to just be like, as an actor, as a broadcaster, as an artist, you want to be able to have something where you can randomly talk to somebody, be like, hey, you ever see that? Oh, yeah, well, that's me, whatever.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I've gotten a lot of those moments, and that was one of them. I can always go back to that moment, and just The Walking Dead was 2 seasons.
I know.
9 episodes. The producers were so kind, and to a little note on that, it was like 15 auditions. It was 5 years. In my mind, if I had thought they hated me for real, I was kidding around thinking that, I would have probably quit because I'd have been like, I would have got in my head, screw them. They should book me by now. They know what I can do. I booked other stuff. Blah blah. They're messing with me. And then I meet Scott Gimble at the rap party. And the second I meet him, I'm like, I walked up to him like this. I was like, oh, that's Scott. That's the thing. I'm going to walk up to him and be like, hi, my name is Carlos. I play Alvaro from the Kingdom. It was nice to meet you,
Explain
and
to the producer.
So I was with Kari, actually, who plays King Ezekiel. And he's like, Carlos, he's right there. Go say hi to him. I was like, okay, fine, And I'm like, I walk up, I'm like, and I hadn't met him the whole season long. So I was like, hey, Scott, what's going on? He goes, who dares trespass on the sovereign land of the... And I'm like, he starts reciting my lines. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
And he's like, Carlos, thank you so much for what you did. We were waiting for the right part for you, and you just nailed it. We needed somebody strong and really... And I'm like... And that's when I actually found out that they named the part Alvaro after Navarro.
That's so
cool.
And you're like, I'm not crying, you're crying. It's fine.
It was so kind. He was so sweet. When I died, he called me and he said, Carlos, man, we kept this up.
Such odd
That's so weird, right? It's so weird to think, but it's true. He's kind. He'll call certain people, and I remember, I knew it was coming. I knew, look, you don't live long on The Walking Dead, unless you're Daryl or somebody like that,
right.
And so he was very kind and very sweet, and I knew it was, he's like, boy, no, it said Burbank, California, and I was like, and I picked up immediately because I knew it was him, and it's like, normally people don't pick up when they think it's me. And just very sweet, and I feel honored, like a legendary show to be a part of it is like, it's like, thank you, Lord, thank you, universe.
So cool. Look, as much as I enjoyed you in Hawkeye and The Walking Dead, my favorite role is Lewis, the gas station attendant in Identity Theft.
Thanks, man.
I remember watching that movie the first time, and I didn't know you were in that. And I was on a plane, and I don't remember where we're flying. but your scene comes up. And when you do the line, oh, Sandy?
Mira, Sandy, mira, que eso es un Sandy, es un nombre de mujer, ¿qué pasa con esto? Que, oh, Sandy, pay your bills, Scott, okay, look, pay your bills, you pay your bills, don't get on this plane. Yeah, man.
I lost my mind on the airplane. My wife's
man,
like, what are you laughing at? I was like, that's Carlos.
I think we all have it. So, during like lockdown, I ended up actually getting COVID for a little while, and so I was like,
who didn't?
Right. So I was like in bed, just like chugging NyQuil basically, and I started the HBO series, The Outsider, and I thought that I was hallucinating because I was like, I swear I know that guy, and then I was like, it's Carlos. Slept for like 3 more days and then woke up and I was like, did I dream that or is that real? I had to like Google it and then I realized it wasn't. I was like, I know him.
Mary,
him.
I'm telling you, I sit back sometimes and I go like, you know, I've been a part of some really amazing projects with amazing actors, Ben Mendelsohn and Jason Bateman and the list goes on, Jeremy Renner and Kate. It just goes on. And as a fan, you know, of these people, it doesn't get lost on me. You know, it definitely does not get lost on me. I absolutely really am grateful for all these moments and anytime somebody can say, especially with like Identity Thief, because of it's such a fun movie, you know, like Bloodlines, like I've sometimes played some really rough characters, you know, so Identity Thief, I just did an appearance a couple weeks ago and this lady came in and she had all this Identity Thief stuff that she's like, when I'm down, that's my movie. Her name is Katie, because it's like especially when people come in, a lot for Marvel, a lot for Walking Dead and different things, radio, of course, and when she was just like, it was in Titusville of all places, like, you know, this kind of small city, and she's like, when I found out Luis was gonna be here, because it just put the biggest smile on her face, and that movie will always be when my acting career really took off, when really got to a level where I was like, hey, no, I got that. I got the scene in Identity Thief, you know, and it was successful. I was selling slicers at the time to get back to the whole, you know, I was selling slicers. I was on my way to some city wearing a fake chef outfit with vegetables in the back. And my agent calls me and is like, Carlos, you booked the movie, and it wasn't Identity Thief. It was the movie with Jason Bateman and Melissa McCarthy. I was like, ah!
Wait, you gotta breeze over this real quick. So you were selling slices. So you're like Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness when he's trying to sell his machines. So that's you.
Yeah.
Pursuing your dream.
I was driving because I had my daughter and I needed some type of job that could help pay. And I think at that time I could get insurance from it. And so it was always like that. It was always like, what do I have to do that I like? You know, because all these jobs I took on, I never hated. I was never like, did it suck to dress up like a fake chef and sell slicers in a Sears in Cocoa Beach? Yes. But you know what? To me, it was better than like sitting in some cubicle, like inputting some shit. I don't know. And so anyway, yeah, I'm stinking like bad vegetables because I also have to carry the vegetables with me wherever I go. But that didn't matter. I was actually in a Chick-fil-A line because I was like, I would leave early. And I remember that. I clearly remember that moment. My agent was so happy for me. And I'm still friends with her to this day. She's not my current agent, but shout out to Tracy. She was so happy for me. She knew exactly where we actually, I didn't have the money to get to the table read. I didn't have the money to get to the callback for the part. And so my agent, I had like $60 and then I was going to get paid. And then they were like, hey, they really want to see you. Can you be in Georgia tomorrow? And I'm like, oh, shit, that's like $60 in gas alone, you know? But I talked to my mother-in-law and I talked to my agent. I was like, oh, you know what? I can actually do it. I can do it. And thankfully I did, you know? It's just one of those things, how bad you want it. And, you know.
Yeah. Are we allowed to ask who your favorite Avenger is? Are we allowed to do that?
Oh.
Because these are the tough questions we're asking.
These are tough. This one's tough. My favorite Avenger... Probably Vision at this point. Like, yeah. I'm also a big Ant-Man fan because he's kind of in the quasi event. You know, he didn't get the full title. He just would show up. Mm-hmm. But my daughter can get real nitty-gritty with it. She's like a very like indie track. You know, she loves Iron Man. That's her end-all be-all. You know, who doesn't?
Good answer. Yeah.
But she'll get like real, like she's very into Guardians. You know, she's like, yeah, that's the movie. That's probably the best Marvel. We're not talking full full Avenger. She's like Guardians 2 probably hits that spot. She's fully into it. We're in Moon Knight. We're like episode 3 of Moon Knight right now, so and digging that.
I
have a really easy question for you, really quickly.
No, Mary has to get to this. I know where she's going. You got
How excited are you for Daddy Strange's movie? I mean, Doctor Strange.
Whoa! I think you just had a Freudian slip there, Daddy Strange.
I'm a big fan.
I can see Daddy Strange. I can see that.
So what Mary hasn't gotten to is there any way through Jeremy Renner maybe you could arrange an introduction with Daddy Strange?
With Daddy. Hey, Benedict, I got a girl Mary. She calls you Daddy Strange, if you know what I'm saying, I'll try and introduce you guys, but I am super excited about Doctor Strange. Oh my God, I tell you this. I straight up told the producers, Kevin Feige and Trent, all them, I was like, I didn't think y'all could do it. I was like, I thought y'all were done with Endgame. And I remember looking at you guys saying, and then 2022, and then 20, and I told them, I was like, these people are crazy. Nobody does this. Nobody connects these movies. Nobody had done anything like this. And they didn't even realize what an amazing thing they were doing. So they were laughing about it and stuff. But I love the whole connectivity of it all. I love what it's going to bring in this next phase. I never would have believed it because I really didn't know that much about it. They did. They knew the whole time. They're like, we haven't even introduced the multiverse yet.
Right.
So, once you got that, you can bring in anything. You can do anything.
Yeah.
Chris, you had a question for Carlos?
Yeah, really easy question for you. Is Kingpin dead?
Yes, 100%. I can say that.
Oh, wow. Confirmed.
Wow.
I thought you were going to dance around that.
Let me tell you how much I knew about Kingpin. I didn't know Kingpin was in it when I was shooting it.
Really?
No, at the end it said, Big Bad comes in at the end. And not everybody got the scripts. Now, Fra, who played Kazi on the show, we all stayed together. We hung together. This was the peak of COVID, right? So we were in New York City. Nobody was there. It was like a zombie. It was like a literal zombie movie, like a what if zombie version. And so it was very odd times. We were very, very close, and it ended up paying off on the show because you could tell we had good chemistry. But we'd get Frost scripts, and we'd be like, read them all. Where's my part? And actually, as a fan, I didn't want to know all of, because as an actor and the character you play, right? Enrique, listen, bro. Okay, like I need to know where's Kate Bishop, bro, and then we kill it, bro. Because then we party, bro. Hey, listen, bro. Like I don't need to know all the ins and outs of the story. It actually takes away from my character. I'm not trying to give Enrique, nor is Piotr trying to give Tomas or Ivan like a very intellectual take on things, because we happen to be chasing a young lady in tight spandex for days on end with no real regard to life or public safety. So you gotta just play. You gotta play the comic character.
What's your favorite role that you've played?
Now definitely Enrique.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just Enrique with the Tracksuit Mafia. I always wanted to have, and I'm not saying, look, I know I'm not Tony Soprano, I know, but like a role, like something iconic, something that I like to my dying day. I always be able to be like, Tracksuit Mafia, bro, like I want to be able to be like 70 years old and somebody would come up and be like, bro, and I'll be like, whoa, what I'm saying? I always wanted that. Some people, I guess, wouldn't want that or whatever, and it's kind of, I love Mafia movies in general. That's like my favorite. And being a Pacino, like mentor, like, studying his stuff. And I always thought I would be in some Mafia movie, doing the thing. And I definitely played a gangster in those regards, but like I didn't think it would be the Tracksuit Mafia, So it all works out because it actually was much more me than anything else,
We have a question from a listener real quick. This is from Remy from Remy's Roundtable. Do you have the tracksuit from Hawkeye?
Man, pains me to say no. I tell you why. When we were done shooting, the wardrobe head was like, I'm going to get you one, Carlos, whatever. They were specifically fit for us. And then come back and get them during reshoots. Well, they pretty much used everything that we had. And so we didn't have to go back and do a bunch of reshoots. And so I didn't get it, and it pains me. But I do a lot of work. I end up working in Atlanta a lot. I feel like I'm booking gigs now where they want me in the tracksuit. Like me and Alex, like the VIP. I'm like, yeah, I'll dress up. What do you know? I used to dress up like a chef. at Sears, okay? Throw the tracksuit on. So, yeah. So I'll get one. I'll get something similar, I guess.
A Spirit Halloween.
Exactly. It's a pretty easy cosplay. So, I've already seen a lot of them. And it is crazy because I've seen Kingdom cosplay and I've seen Tracksuit. I'm very, very, very grateful for the fandom.
We didn't even get into your appearances at Comic-Con and MegaCon and how cool that is. That's
insane, man. I mean, Scott, you guys all just heard what I used to do, and I definitely am not saying these things as if it's beneath me. It's just like, like you in that moment when you're like really trying to get that next step, that next level up, and you're in the thick of it. You think, oh, well, how does this fit in the grand scheme of thing? And it's like, oh, actually, this time here is going to make you so grateful later on when people are coming to you and. I was driving to Titusville. I remember I had an appearance in Titusville where people come by and Walking Dead or radio or video, whatever. And I love it because people take time out of their day to stop by, say hello, pay for I mean, it's insane. So I'm grateful for it. And it's just it's an awesome feeling. So I'm just going to continue to try and put out good stuff out there into the world and put that message out, man. Like life is too short to kind of sit back on that passion. You got to tap into it.
Awesome.
One little spark of inspiration is at the heart of all creation, right at the start of everything that's new. One little spark,
Hey, it's Alex from Diz His. You know me, you know Joe, you definitely know Chris, and you know Jen. Well, we're the hosts of Diz His, the Disney History Podcast. Every week we take one Disney subject and go over the history, as well as our insight on the subject. We talk about other Disney topics, as well as what's new in the news. You can find us on all podcast platforms, or go to our website, dizhiz.com. That's DIZHIZ.com. And we're on all social media at DizHiz65.
Chris, what do you got going on Diz His this week?
This week, we are breaking down Century. I just made a popping sound with my mouth, insinuating that this week's episode will be on Pop Century, which is actually a really cool hotel. I really like the cheesy, very themed hotels. Hot take, I'd rather stay at Pop Century than a place like the Polynesian.
Wow.
And we'll break that down. We'll break that down.
That's one of those value hotels, right?
It is.
So,
yeah,
Mary, you know Pop
value.
Century very well, right?
No, why would I know that? Did I miss a joke? I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't. I was
Scott
gone.
just
I
called
was
you
checked
broke.
out.
It's okay.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. That's fine. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm referencing on when we did Diz His, and I said most of the parents that let their kids ride Alien Encounter are probably staying at the value hotels.
Look, I didn't say that I let my children ride Alien Encounter. I said I
and I'm
loved
I'm not calling you broke. I'm saying, never mind. The best jokes are the ones that you have to explain.
Yeah, totally.
Pop Century this week.
Pop Century, check them
back
out.
To what we were saying. God.
Yeah, if you'd like to connect with Diz His, Diz His 65 on all social media, check out their website, dizhiz.com. Their episodes release every Tuesday morning. Carlos, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening. I know you got to be up super early in the morning. We appreciate you coming on and being so transparent. We learned a lot about you that I didn't even know as a super fan of yours. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, and it was a lot of fun. And we'll talk again soon. I really want to hear your outro.
Okay. All right.
Don't mess it up.
Well, that's going to do it for us for tonight. As always, if you'd like to connect with us on the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter, check out our website, nonewfriendspodcast.com. Check out our sweet merchandise. Join our Patreon. Very important. It is that time, OrlandoWeekly.com, Best of Orlando competition. Please go under the category Local Notables, Best Local Podcast, write in No New Friends Podcast. We would love to be a finalist again this year. If you listen to us on Apple, we need that rating. We need that 5-star review. On Spotify, check out that poll, answer the question. We'd love to hear your feedback. My name is Scott. On behalf of Mary, Chris, our guest Carlos, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.